Hey guys, I know it's been a while since I've done much of any kind of a video, at least anything with me on it. Done quite a few sky watches, as you might have seen, but this one's going to be, excuse me, a little different from my normal videos. At least, like I say, anything with me in it. I wanted to talk about a website I've been working on with a good friend of mine. We put it together actually on April 15th. It's called Metaphysical Lemonade. I know, crazy title, but you'll understand why here shortly. I'll try not to make this video too long, but long enough to cover everything, so bear with me. And I'll apologize ahead of time for the lighting. Lighting's terrible in here, plus it's like 5 o'clock in the morning, so bear with me. But where the title Metaphysical Lemonade came from was from a personal experience I had. Now, metaphysical can mean a lot of things, but mainly it's anything you cannot explain. Paranormal, whether it be a ghost type of event or just basically anything you can't explain, no rational definition or answer for it. So, me and her had both had, numerous experiences over the years, and we decided to maybe put a website together to try to help other people. Because I know, and she had ran into a lot of the similar things, that a lot of places online are not very friendly. They make anything paranormal or metaphysical wise seem like you're either crazy or, you belong in some mental institution. And that's not the case. And another thing too, it doesn't have to always mean something negative. There can be some positives in the paranormal, as you'll find out with my stories. But getting back to the title, Metaphysical Lemonade, and I'll have links to all the sites and everything down in the description, so you can check those out. But Metaphysical Lemonade, the lemonade part of it, was from an event that happened to me about 18 years ago. I was 15 years old at the time, with a friend of mine. Me and him were out to the lake by my house, just, goofing off as kids do. And it was hot, in the 90s. It was summertime. So we're walking around and just, like I said, goofing off. And we drank all the water and everything we had, so, you don't really think too much of that kind of stuff when you're a kid. So we're walking around, and partway around the trail, it cuts through a farm. It's still an active farm today. It's kind of a little right-of-way, I guess. But it's a state park, and the trail cuts through a little section of the farm. And right as you get onto the farm property, you can see a little farmhouse. I'll put a picture of it at the end of this video. I'm not real good on editing to try to put it in between. But we stopped by this farmhouse, and, been by that little farmhouse for years. It's always been there as far as we've known. Our whole lives anyway. So we're under this big oak tree, which is just in front of the farmhouse. And we're sitting there, it's hot, like I said. We're thirsty, the whole deal. So after, I don't know, I say 5 minutes, give or take, a woman comes out of the house. Now, I don't have a whole lot of detail about the woman herself, because nothing was out of the ordinary at the time. Or didn't seem to be. So we're sitting there, and the woman comes out, like I said, and the only thing I could describe her as is your typical, grandma, short, older lady, like I said, nothing to pay attention to. So she asked us what the trouble was. So we told her, that we were hot, thirsty, the whole deal. She told us to wait a minute, so we sat there. She goes back in the house, comes back with 2 tall glasses of lemonade, the real heavy, crystal type glasses, not the cheap, dollar store made in China stuff you get today. But she gave us each a glass of lemonade. We drank it. She went back in the house after handing them to us. So we both drank them. And not wanting her back out in the heat, because, like I say, it was hot, we just set the 2 glasses in front of the house and kind of just said thanks and, walked on. Didn't think a whole lot of it. It was nice, but I guess, a little surprising to somebody actually being in that house, but, didn't pay much attention. So we continue on throughout the day doing whatever, goofing off. So we end up, going home and everything. Well, a month or so later, we're back at the same area, just walking around, messing around. And I see one of the farm hands, whatever you want to call him, working there. And I hollered at the guy, and he come over, asked us, what was going on. So he was asking him about the woman. Said, after it was all said and done, we kind of felt bad that we didn't say thanks or nothing for the drinks. And he's looking at us like, you kids are crazy. And I said, no, right there in that house that we're standing beside, woman came out, short, older lady, and, gave us something to drink and, more or less told him the story. And he says, I don't know what you boys are really referring to, but the woman you seem to be describing, she died 50 years before you guys were ever thought of. So, that was like, a jaw-dropping thing, kind of freaked us out. But he said it and just turned around and walked away. So we never really got to ask him anything if he knew who the woman might have been or anything. It's just been kind of always been on my mind all these years. And I started, I've told the story numerous times in different places. And even at my local UFO organization I'm involved in, which I'll get to that in a minute. But I've told it there. And a couple months back, I had told the story. And I come home and said something to my dad about telling the story or something. Just casual conversation. And he says to hold on a minute. So I did, and he goes in his bedroom and comes back with a picture of that house that we still don't know who took it. He was just cleaning out, the old junk drawer like we all have, and found a picture of the house in the wintertime, and I think I have it right here. Let's see. I'll put a better picture at the end of this video, but now, when I was there originally, for the story I just told, it was, of course, summertime, but that'll focus. That's the house in the wintertime. But the crazy thing is, we have no clue who took this photo. I mean, we walked around, by that lake. I've probably been around that lake more times than I can count, over 100 times in my life. It's about 5.5 miles, give or take. And, I've walked it more than once in the same day. It's really no big deal. But, so, when you're passing all the same scenery all your life, there's really no reason to take a picture. I mean, you just want to see it, you just go there. So, we never did figure out why or who took this picture. But, I haven't been out there for a while, but last I had seen the house itself was, there's a video on YouTube back in April. Some people were just filming their, little trip around the lake, I guess. And it looked like somebody may have been working on the house. One of the windows had what appeared to be a curtain and the door was open. So I don't know. But that's the first event that happened, in my life that's led to a lot of other things. So I'll get into the next one, but real quick, the reason I'm making this video anyway, well, there's a few reasons, but one, so many people like to hear the stories. I've told them on different radio programs and on the sky watches that some of you may have seen. But, I don't always want to either interrupt somebody if they're telling something or, I hate trying to steal the show all the time, so to speak. I don't mean it that way. So, I figured I'd make this video, and then if somebody wanted to hear it and it was kind of, what I felt is maybe not the right time to say it for whatever reason, I can throw a link out there and whoever wants can check it out. So, I'll go ahead with the next one. This was several years, I can't say exactly, but it was several years after this event. I was with the same friend again, matter of fact, and my dad this time. We were going on a winter hike, which me and Dad do just about every year. He's done actually more of them than I have. I've chickened out a couple of times in the real bad weather. But it's a 7-mile hike. It's in Hocking Hills State Park here in Ohio, through the caves and things. Nice hike. It's, like I say, about 7 miles. They average sometimes 3,000 people that do it or more. So this one particular year, we were doing the hike, and it had snowed and stuff that morning, but so we done the hike and everything was fine, no big deal. We're on our way home, And well, when we got done with the hike, I should say, it was not snowing. It was not doing anything. It was just clear skies. No weather of any kind, just nice. So we're coming home, and Dad's driving a Ford Ranger. So, small pickup, very light, not real good in the wintertime. So we're coming home, and just, driving along the road, not really thinking much of anything. And the county had been putting sand on the road, for traction and things. Well, at one point, they had dumped a decent pile of sand, and Dad hit it. So we spun complete circles about 3 times, and we're now teetering over, I would say, about a 40-foot, 45-foot drop-off. Still scares me when I go by it today. Luckily, it was the back of the truck that was hanging over. If it had been the front end, we'd have fell for sure. But we're sitting there, and you can't move, because every little movement, and 3 of us in a little Ford Ranger single cab is tight fit anyway. But every little movement, the truck's rocking, so we're like scared, and didn't have any cell phones. Wouldn't have worked down there if we had one anyhow. So we're not knowing what to do. We're just kind of freaking out, but trying to stay as calm as we can. And after, I don't know, maybe 5-10 minutes, it's hard to say, as time went by, this black F-150, it was a newer one, pulled up, and was going to help us. Well, the guy gets out of the truck, and a woman gets out of the passenger side, which turned out to be the guy's mom, and she freaked out and tried to, dig the snow away from our tires, wanted to shove us over, kept telling her son, let him die, let's get out of here. So he's trying to calm her down. So he gets her calmed down back in the truck, tries to pull us out, can't do it, not enough power. Just spins his tires, no good. So he's sitting in the road still. He kind of pulls off to the side the best he could. Then it was a red Dodge Dakota, newer one. It pulls up. Same scenario, it can't pull us out either. Just doesn't have the power. So it's sitting there as well. Now the third vehicle pulls up, which ends up being a 70s model Bronco. All rusted. I was red, white, and blue. The fenders, and doors didn't all match, that kind of thing. So the guy gets out, and he looks, like it's the first time he's ever seen civilization, way back in the hills type of guy. So he gets there, puts a chain on us, pulls us straight out, no problem. He had way more power than needed to pull us out. No problem whatsoever. So we're back on the road, and we're sitting, sideways and everything. So these other vehicles are kind of scattered and things. So Dad and all of us get in. Well, we're still in the truck. We get out, though, because it took them probably a good 10 minutes to beat the chain off our truck. It was on there so tight after the guy yanked us out. Well, we get back in the truck, and Dad goes couldn't have been 1/8 of a mile up the road, back the way we originally came, just so we could turn around. So we get turned around, and like I said, there's no snow, no wind, no inclement weather, nothing. It's nice out, blue skies. We go, turn around, 1/8 of a mile is not that far. It's just basically around the little curve. We come back to the same spot. No one's there. No people, no footprints, no tire tracks, no nothing. You could see a little bit of our tire tracks where we had spun and things, but from all the other vehicles, nothing. Not one sign of anybody being there. And altogether, there was probably, well, if you would have counted the 3 of us, there would have been about 8 people. There was 2 in each pickup, and then the guy in the Bronco, and then us. So, but there was no signs of anything, of any extra help, nothing. So we're kind of scratching our heads about that. Drive home, walk in the front door, Mom's sitting in the house, tells us more or less the whole story, the way it happened, like I had just told. So that kind of scared us, freaked us out, the whole deal, however, anybody else would probably react. Just weird. So that was the second big thing that ever happened. And the very last one is the only one where I was more or less by myself. I was in, this was probably 2004 or 5, around there. I was in Virginia, just outside of Norfolk, staying with some friends, and we were out in town one night just kind of goofing off, and I got separated from the bunch somehow or another. And at that time, it was $1.50 to ride the bus anywhere in town. So I didn't know the area hardly at all, and I was flat broke. So I didn't know what to do. So I didn't know how I was going to get back to where I was staying. Didn't have no phone, just kind of wondered what in the world am I going to do. So I walk around for a while, and I finally go to the bus terminal. I walked inside, and it's probably 11 o'clock or so at night. Walk inside, and I might be, I don't know, 5, 6 feet away from the ticket counter. I mean, I'm pretty short anyway. I'm only 5'4". So there's a lady working the counter, and me in there, and that was it. The place wasn't that big anyway. I'm standing there, looking towards the door, and a guy walks in, and he's your typical homeless-looking guy, like you would think of in a movie, dirty clothes, and just, there's a lot of homeless around there, so you saw a lot of them. So he comes in, and he's probably, I would say, 6 foot tall, so he's definitely taller than me. So, I'm talking, he asked me, he said, what I looked troubled for. He started the conversation, I didn't. And I just flat out said, I'm kind of stranded. I said, if I had $1.50 worth for bus fare, I could get back to where I'm staying at and everything be fine. But I don't know what I'm going to do. I said, I'll figure something out. So he reaches in his pocket and says, here, you need this more than I do, $1.50. I refused it 3 different times. And he, in a little more forceful tone said, here, I think you really need it more than I do. So I took it. I turned around, took, 1 or 2 steps. Like I said, I'm only about 6 foot at the most from the window. And hand the woman the money, get my bus ticket, turn around, guy's gone. I figured he walked outside or whatever. I didn't know. So I turned back around. I asked the woman that I just bought the ticket from where the gentleman was that I was talking to. And she looks at me like I'm crazy. And I said, he was right there. I said, he was way taller than me. You could have seen him real easy. And she said, sir, I thought you might have been on the phone. She said, I heard you talking, but I thought you might have been on the phone or something. She said, you've been the only person in my bus terminal all evening. There's been nobody here. So I was like, okay. So I had, I don't know, maybe 10 minutes, 15 at the most, before the bus was going to be there. So I ran outside, went up and down the road, didn't see nobody. I ran across the street to the little 7-Eleven there, went inside, no signs of anybody. So don't know where the guy ever went, no clue, but that woman swore up and down that I was the only one in there. She saw nobody come in, leave, nothing. And as close as we were, she would have had no trouble seeing him because he was taller than me, and she would have seen, right over top me. But she swore up and down that nothing, no one was ever there, so I don't know. So over the years, I've thought about the 3 events and wondered if there could have ever been a connection. Excuse me. And the only thing I can think of, personally, is it was a distressful situation. That's the only connecting factor. Otherwise, I don't know. But one thing I've learned, too, is not to always question everything. Now, I could have had more events similar to these, but without anybody, saying that anything was out of the ordinary, I'd never know. And I had a friend actually made a good point, that if I would have known ahead of time, I might not have been as willing to take the help. So, I don't know. So, anybody can chime in if they want on their opinions. And a lot of other things have happened, a lot this year, matter of fact. But I don't want to draw this video out too long, so if anybody wants me to make another video to go into some detail on other things, like being an empath and things along those lines, just leave a comment down below, and I can always do another video. Like I say, I just didn't want to drag this one out too long, but there is a couple more things I want to add. The Metaphysical Lemonade, I'll put all the links in the description, and I made up some, for lack of a better word, they're like business cards, I don't know what else to call them, for Metaphysical Lemonade, and I'll put a screenshot of one of those at the end, leave it up for a little bit, because like I say, I'm not real good at editing, so kind of is what it is. But like all the links and everything, and we do meetups once in a while with got a chat room, Facebook, Twitter, all that kind of stuff. The little meetups when in our chat room, for audio purposes, I'll do something similar to the sky watches that are on the channel, more or less the same setup. But the difference will be when we do the meetups, the YouTube video, because that's how I've got to broadcast it through chat. That web address will be private, so only those in the room will have it. And after the meetup is done and over with, the video will not be saved. It'll all be deleted, done away with. That way, everything's as confidential as can be. I know a lot of people don't want their stories and things out there. And that's also the reason our Facebook page is pending. So if you try to join, it'll have to be approval, which will be no problem for anybody, not an issue. The reason we set it up that way is we didn't want people to join and us not realize it, and then they end up, potentially feeling like they fell through the cracks or just another, number. I like to make everybody feel equal. And as long as everybody's respectful, that's the only rule, we've got anyway. You do that, everything else is fine. But one other thing, though, is the UFO group I mentioned earlier. It's a local one, Round Town UFO Society. I'll put, like I said, the links and stuff in the description. And since I've been kind of for lack of a better term, the driving force to get more paranormal stuff spoken about, and brought up in discussions with a lot of people there have really, enjoyed sharing stories and different things. But since all of that, and we've put together kind of I guess we're calling it a board. There's a few of us on it, and we got one guy doing we're kind of sharing, helping each other out, I guess. But one guy's our chief UFO investigator. We've got another that's doing a lot of the research side of it after investigations and things are done and that sort of thing. We've got somebody doing cryptids, because that's their specialty, the whole Bigfoot and that type of stuff. And then it comes about to me on the paranormal side. So I'll be doing all the investigating for anything paranormal related. And that's where you guys can maybe help me out if possible. I started a page on the website's, well, it's kind of a sister site, but it's part of Indiegogo, where you can, sort of like a Kickstarter thing, trying to raise money. And that's where I started and put up a little thing just the other day. Because doing the paranormal, there is some equipment that I will need. I'm slowly trying to buy some things on my own, but some of the equipment, some of the different meters and things that I'll need are a little expensive and a little tough to sometimes come up with the cash. So I'm doing the best I can, but money's tight, as I'm sure we all know. So I started on there and I asked for $300. I don't know how long it'll stay up there. I'm guessing 30 days, but it didn't say. So the way I've got it set up is, since it's a non-profit and I'm doing it to kind of help other people out, I guess. People's going to be filling out reports if they have anything, to report, I guess. The main thing is to make people realize that, what they're experiencing either is legit, or give them some kind of an explanation of what it is. Try to help ease them, one way or another. Either confirm it or explain it, do the best I can. But I need some equipment, and that's why I put on the thing asking for $300, and I don't have to pay any fees, like I say, because it's all non-profit. So if anybody could, be kind enough to help out, in any way, it would be greatly appreciated. And I've started monetizing my videos, the ones that I were able to do anyway, to maybe help raise a few bucks. So if you can't, at least if you can't donate or anything, which I completely understand, not a problem. At least, give the videos, the ones you watch or anything, give them a like, share them around, that'll help too. But the main thing is, if, you can go to the link and give a couple bucks or whatever, it would be appreciated, but, I don't want anybody to feel obligated. I mean, I'm pretty impressed of how many of my subscribers have stuck with me this long through everything that I've, been through, cancer surgery last year and all that kind of stuff, which I'm doing great for that, no issues. But dealing with, like I said, the Metaphysical Lemonade and that website and all of that, doing the sky watches and working with the local group, it's just been a little, rough to do a whole lot of just YouTube videos. I don't know, there's only so many hours to do things. I'm still doing, a little bit with the metals. I'm kind of just holding what little I can. Prices aren't really where I need them to be to really sell anything. But regardless of that, if anybody could, like I said, help out a little bit, because trying to get some stuff put together, so if I get any reports of anything, I can put it out there. And I might even try to, I'll have to see, on the Indiegogo website, it's called Generosity, there's a way to put like a reward level on there, and if anybody's got any suggestions of something, that I might be able to do as a reward, like for a $5 donation, do this, and so on and so on. You can always post in the comments or something, maybe give me some suggestions. And I know this video is getting a little long, but I'm also going to post it on that website as well. But like I say, if anybody can help out, it would be appreciated. And if anybody wants to hear any other things I've been dealing with over the years, and some more recent and other things, like I say, leave me a comment down below. I may have to split some of that stuff up into separate videos. I got quite a bit I can go through, and I don't like to make videos too long, because sometimes I know how it is when videos get too long. They just get drawn out and you lose interest and go to something else. But that's pretty much all I've got for this video. But like I say, any questions, comments, whatever, leave them down in the comment section, and I'll post all the links to everything in the description. And I appreciate any help anyone can give, even if it's just a like, share, or even just a nice comment, So, that's all I've got for this time, so just leave me some comments, and I'll do my best to answer them as quick as I can. Thanks.